Colorado's historic drought has been headline news here for months, but actually seeing the places where Denver gets its water drives it home. The levels at Dillon Reservoir, the largest in the utility system, are down 20 feet from where they would normally be this time of year, and they're going to keep dropping. Thanks for being here at 10 o'clock. I'm Kyle Clark.
I'm Kim Christensen. Denver Water considers its reservoir system to be sort of a savings account. And as 9 News reporter Colton Chavez explains, the utility is having to make significant withdrawals right now.
It's no longer a stone's throw to reach the water at Frisco Bay Marina. Denver Water says Dillon Reservoir is down 20 feet during this year's drought.
So if you let that go up here, it'll go farther.
John Risk and his 2 children are trying to make the most of their camping trip.
A lot more exposed shoreline, that's for sure, yeah. Lower water in general, that's everywhere.
And it's not just Dillon. Reservoirs across Denver's water system are feeling it. Sitting at 75% of capacity overall, more than 20 percentage points below where they'd normally be this time of year.
Sure, Dillon Reservoir is our largest reservoir. It is certainly one of our most important reservoirs, particularly when it comes to water storage and the water that people use all year long.
As this drought drags on, Denver Water is pulling about 163 million gallons out of Dillon every day to supply homes across Denver and the surrounding suburbs. Spokesperson Jimmy Luthi says they're already looking ahead to next spring.
And right now we're looking at reservoirs being about 60 to 62% capacity, which is significantly lower than we like them to be. It is very severe and very important, and really just underscores why we need folks to continue to conserve, to continue to follow our watering restrictions throughout the rest of this hot and dry summer.
So instead of going back and forth,
a summer that isn't the best for learning how to fish, but is a chance for John's kids to learn the importance of conserving water.
But try to have some fun and get these kids out in nature. It's important that they see it and realize that we got to protect it.
The road to recovering this resource isn't a stone's throw away.
A normal winter is not going to get us out of this drought.
Jimmy says recovery could take years. Until then, every drop counts.
I personally don't look at myself as inconvenience too much. I think we're a small part of a much bigger picture.
In Summit County, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
Kathy, it just goes to show, right, we're not looking at a one-year problem.
No.
Right? This is going to be a multi-year situation for folks, even if snowpack bounces back.
And if those pictures don't inspire you to want to conserve water, I don't know what will. I mean, it's dramatic. The pictures, the footage coming in, and the temperature trend and the fire weather. I mean, it's all kind of driving us in one direction. So we do have some relief, not this week, but next week, the monsoon should be back. Outside, it's all about the smoke and haze. That smoke descending over Denver, creating terrible air, even though the worst of the smoke really wasn't right over Denver this afternoon. And our 2-day cool down, it's over. Temperatures were in the 80s today and low 70s yesterday. We're headed back to the 90s tomorrow. Already 42 days with 90 or better for the season. We're headed for the record books in terms of summer warmth. Comfortable out there now, 69 in Castle Rock, 71 in downtown Denver, but the heat returns and a little more smoke. We have winds aloft coming in out of the northwest, transporting wildfire smoke from Pacific Northwestern wildfires. So we're going to be dealing with this again tomorrow. Another air quality alert out for Denver, the Front Range, and western Colorado, and concerns for elevated fire danger. Hot, windy, and warm weather across the western slope. No break from that, so fire weather warnings remain in effect. A nice, comfortable evening overnight, but coming up, we got to talk about record highs again over the weekend. Those details ahead.
CSP says a young driver died in a crash on I-70 in Arapahoe County tonight. According to the agency, the early investigation shows the driver, a minor, was speeding eastbound near the Highway 36 exit when he lost control and hit a guardrail. State troopers say he was wearing a seatbelt but was still thrown from the car and died. He was the only one in the car. A child is seriously hurt after a driver hit her in Commerce City. Police say that happened earlier tonight on Holly Street, near the intersection of East 63rd. The child was taken to the hospital. Police say the driver stayed at the scene and is cooperating with the investigation.
The governor's declared a disaster emergency in response to a fire that broke out north of Kremling last night. The governor's office says the Indian Creek fire is burning at about 9,000 feet in elevation, and fighting it requires specialized resources beyond Jackson County's capability. Mandatory evacuations are in place. That fire is between 25 and 30 acres with no containment. Fire departments across Colorado say they need more firefighters to keep up with emergencies. The Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control released its Fire Service Needs Assessment today. It found statewide departments say they need an additional 2,100 paid and volunteer positions. That is about 25% of the current workforce. Another issue is funding. 2/3 of departments said their current funding is not enough to carry out their operations. But state fire officials recognize that just coming up with more funding is not going to be simple.
I think more what I'm hearing from the fire service is that, we really want to make Colorado affordable, but most of the funding for the fire service comes from property taxes. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. We want to make Colorado affordable, but when you lower property taxes, you're also impacting the funding stream for the fire department. So it's balancing those two needs is very difficult.
The state conducts this survey every 2 years. The agency said another thing this year is that departments raised more concerns over how to handle EV and lithium-ion battery fires than they had in years past.
CBI is asking for help involving a driver in a hit and run, a serious one in Denver. The agency issued a Medina alert today. Investigators are looking for a 2023 black Cadillac Escalade with temporary Colorado plate. Investigators say a woman with brown hair was driving it about 4:45 yesterday afternoon when she hit a person at East Arizona and South Milwaukee. That person was hospitalized with serious injuries. CBI says the SUV may have a broken windshield and heavy front-end damage. If you see it, call that number on your screen.
The Aurora police officer accused of murder for a shooting in 2025 was found to be not credible by a judge in another case. This week, a grand jury indicted Officer Matthew Neely for the shooting of a man named Rehan Belt Stubblefield. In 2019, there's a robbery case in which an Arapahoe County judge found that Neely and another officer gave testimony that conflicted with what their body cameras showed. The judge said he didn't believe their testimony. That led prosecutors to drop the charges and issue a required letter to defense attorneys saying that Neely and the other officer were not credible. However, 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson says he thinks it's unlikely the murder case jury will be told about that ruling.
We don't let witnesses comment on another individual's specific testimony, as in, I found that to be truthful, or I found that to be not truthful. This is an extension of a rule that we don't permit other people to determine credibility. That's up to the jury.
Officer Neely's first court appearance has not yet been scheduled.
Greeley police say a man destroyed some gunshot detection technology, a crime that caused $8,500 worth of damage. Police responded to the reports of vandalism Sunday night at the intersection of 12th Avenue and 15th Street. They say they found a 22-year-old carrying a crowbar and arrested him. Greeley police say their Raven gunshot detection devices were targeted. That's a system that's produced by Flock Safety that monitors for sounds of gunshots. Police say each device is worth about $1,700 and that they'd gradually been installing them around the city, with the final batch completed about a year ago.
The owner of the nightclub in Denver, where one person was killed and 8 others were injured in a shooting last month, is officially turning over his liquor and cabaret licenses. After the shooting July 20th at Ultra Lounge on Hamden, the city suspended the club's licenses, claimed a list of violations. According to the city, the owner, the business Yak and Yeti, admitted that it sold or subleased property to another owner without telling the city or state. Yak and Yeti will be banned from reapplying for a new liquor license for at least 2 years. Denver police say they believe at least 2 people opened fire during that shooting. As of tonight, no one's been arrested.
One of the longest-running marijuana chains in Colorado is closing a plant in Denver and laying off more than 140 workers. According to our reporting partners at the Denver Business Journal, Native Roots will shut down its building off Dahlia Street and East 50th Avenue. Scientists, engineers, lab technicians, and top executives, including the CEO, are losing their jobs come October. Native Roots sold 15 dispensaries in Colorado to Verdant Capital Partners, a company co-founded by one of Native Roots' founders. The acquisition closed last month. Now to a live look outside. You can't really tell a little bit, but It's smoky out there. The air is just not good. Wildfires in the Pacific Northwest and Utah have been bringing smoke into our state, and that bad air can have some negative health impacts, especially if you like to work out outside. We talked with an exercise scientist at MSU Denver who says people continuing to work out despite poor air quality should know the potential impacts. When you exercise, you breathe deeper and more frequently. Doctors say when you do that outside, when it's hot and the air quality is bad, you may be bringing in more pollutants. They know asking people in Colorado to stay indoors is a fool's errand. So if you exercise outside, they urge you to consider bringing down the intensity of that workout.
It's a balance. You're striking a balance between those things of trying to make sure you stay active, but not getting too exposed to those pollutants. Keep it moderate to high and try to reduce your exposure as much as possible.
If you have trouble breathing after that outdoor workout, you better consider seeking medical attention.
The National Weather Service has a new tool designed to help pilots navigate bumpy skies. The Aviation Weather Center created the tool with help from scientists at CSU. It combines info from the ground, satellites, and observations from pilots in the air. Scientists say it's a big upgrade in turbulence forecasting. Other models only help with planning routes, but they say this new system can help pilots make decisions in the air. We're learning about this tool just days after severe turbulence caused roughly 24 flights headed into DIA to get diverted to the Springs. Today, we spoke with Desiree Harris, who's on one of those flights. She's in town as part of the traveling production of Beetlejuice, and she told us all about this nightmare.
We had a flight at 1:55, and we ended up being on that plane until probably about 9:10 this time. So we were on there for a long time. We left, it wasn't delayed going out, but 10 minutes coming into landing, they were like, oh, actually we can't land. We have to go to Colorado Springs. And we were able to land there, but we sat in the plane for like about 3 hours.
She says they ended up taking a van from Colorado Springs to Denver, arrived just after midnight Tuesday. She says no one was injured on her flight, but 5 passengers from the other 21 flights needed medical care. 1 person went to the hospital.